Hi everybody, and thanks for joining me today. So I'll be stitching on the flower today. Yeah, as you can see, I did not work diagonally. I worked following the colors, my color flow method, so we will carry on with that. Yeah, I did basically all the background and the leaf sort of surrounding the pink parts of the flowers. Now I'm going to start filling the flowers in. There's a little bit of blue left sort of along this edge here that I didn't quite finish, but we will be getting into the pinks pretty quick. Yeah, I was happy to sort of make it through that background slog so I could get to something interesting. Yeah, it is a lovely day today, but yeah, I did jinx us. We did have a couple days of snow. Not a lot. Little dusting that melted by the end of the day, but still, come on. Yeah, I had to run a couple errands yesterday, and there were icicles hanging off my car's grill. Like, come on. Ooh. Yeah, still haven't found a vehicle for the kiddo yet. And haven't sold the truck yet, but working on it. Yeah, we will see. We said we're in no hurry. If it takes a while, that's fine. Not in a rush. Yeah, there was, our son would really like a manual RAV4, is what he said he'd like if it's available. And there was a 2005, couple cities over, so it would have been like a, you know, over a 2-hour drive each way. So before we even headed out, we wanted to make sure it was worth it. And I mean, it did look nice, low mileage, in good shape, at least from what we could see. And but they wanted quite a bit more than the Blue Book value was. And like my husband says, you know, if we buy it and on the way of driving it home, it gets written off, then we're out a fair amount, right? So yeah, we weren't willing to go that much higher above the Blue Book value because, yeah, I mean, I understand they got to make a profit too, but yeah, I wasn't willing to take a risk with that much money. And especially because our kiddo's a new driver still, right? He's been driving for a year, but yeah. And I mean, sometimes too, it's not even your own fault, right? You can't control how other people drive. Because yeah, I've been rear-ended twice and both of them were determined to be not my fault. I was completely stopped at one, and at another, I stopped for the pedestrian, and I guess the person behind me didn't realize that there was a pedestrian there and that I was going to stop, and so they're following too close. It was icy, and yeah. So, but I mean, even when it's not your fault, it still sucks, right? It's such a hassle to deal with. So yeah, there was also another Honda Element that came available, which I said would be kind of funny if both me and our son were driving Honda Elements. Actually, it's funny because I got a custom bumper sticker I ordered from, I think it was Cafe Press, but it was a Star Trek one. And it would say, it says O1 terrestrial vehicle and then USS, and then you got to pick whatever name you put on it. So I put USS Element on mine. And anyway, when I filled in my mailing address, my address was off by 1 digit. I put in a typo, and so it got delivered to the wrong place, and they didn't realize who it belonged to at first. I came over and asked, you know, did you get something delivered from this place? Because the tracking information had said it was delivered. They said, nope, sorry. And I said, okay, fine. So I went and ordered another one. And like, seriously, an hour after that, the guys, that was a guy next to us who was retired. His adult son came over and said, oh, I was wondering who this was. I couldn't find your address, your proper address. I didn't know which house to take it to. So now I had 2, right? So yeah, there's one sitting in an envelope now. And I said, well, if you get a Honda Element, then if you wanted, you could have one. So they would both say USS Element on them. Yeah, I kind of considered using our last name, but I was like, I don't know, like Enterprise Element, it has the same sort of, right, rhythm to it. So I went with that. Yeah. Yeah, I was kind of interested in looking at a vanity plate that said like Trekkie or something, but they're expensive. Whereas, yeah, this this deco was like $15, so yeah, I'm cheap. I saw somebody had in town has a custom plate that says OBE and then the number one, so it's Obi-Wan. Yeah, which I thought was really cool, especially because it took me a second to figure it out. I'm like, Obi-Wan. Oh, Obi-Wan! Obi-Wan Kenobi, that's good. Hmm. Yeah, we're in the middle of watching the Clone Wars TV series, which was animated. Yeah. And yeah, some of the characters do look like the actors that portrayed them, but some of them don't. Yeah. And they got some where the actors were willing to do the voice acting for a series, but some of them, yeah, some people who are movie actors will not work on TV. So depends. It's funny because it used to be a big thing. Like if you were a movie actor and then you started working on TV, that meant that your career was dying and you were just desperate for a paycheck. But not so much anymore. You know, TV is really getting high production values and such, right? With, and I mean, getting a part on a long running series is, yeah, it can certainly, darn it, keep you financially secure. Yeah, I'm not sure how residuals work for streaming, but they said like in TV generally, you can continue to earn royals or royalties or residuals for as long as the show still runs, kind of thing. So not just the initial what you got paid to do the part, which I did not know was a thing. Yeah, I thought sort of you just got paid once for your role and that was it. I didn't know that they actually continued to make a bit of money off that. Because yeah, especially for child actors, that could be a big thing. Because I know Will Wheaton said like he didn't get any of his salary from working on Star Trek, but once he turned 18, any residuals that were paid to him. So yeah, he had that to live on. Yeah, I do think there needs to be better laws in place to make sure that the actors who are minors, their money is protected for them, because that's the problem, right? They pay the parents and, well, not all parents are honest, right? A lot of them take all the money for themselves and the kid gets nothing, even though they're the one who did the work. I think things need to go in a trust, and parents should only be allowed to take a certain percentages like their representative or something, because yeah, it's not fair. If you're not the one doing the work, you shouldn't get to have all the money. I mean, I understand maybe you can have some, because like I said, you have to like say drive your kid to work or pay for acting lessons or whatever, but yeah, you shouldn't be allowed to take the whole kit and caboodle, right? Yeah. Well, we always said if we ever won money from America's Funniest Home Videos for a kid, we would take some, but we would save most of it for him to have when he's grown, right? So he could use it for education or whatever. So okay. Here come the purples and the pinks starting in. Yeah. Starting to mix in with the blues. So, like I said, I still try to not close in on all three or all four sides, so I will do up to 3. I try to limit it to 2. Oops, my gosh. Oh, flipped the needle right out of my hand. Kind of did a couple little, spins as it flew away. Couldn't do that if I tried, I think. Yeah, I sent in one of our kiddo attempting to do the floss dance, which he can't do. It's funny because I could do it, but you know, I'm the parent. I should be the uncool one who can't do it, right? Yeah, I filmed it while we were in lockdown. He was goofing around, and I asked if it was okay if I could film him, and he said yes. So yeah, it was quite funny. And when he did it, he was actually holding a real string. So yeah, when I posted it on my Facebook page, and someone said, "I love that his flossing includes like an actual piece of floss." I'm like, yeah, that's my kid for you. That's the kind of thing he does. So but I said, yeah, it's just your hips and your arms go opposite each other. Once you're going, it's not that hard. It just, I said, now moonwalking, that's tougher. Yeah. Yeah, I've sort of looked at like the little wiki guides and stuff of how to moonwalk. And I mean, I get the concept in my head, but I can't actually do it. I'm not coordinated enough. I need to practice a bunch, I think. Yeah. Yeah, it was funny. I remember there was this video going around and they were showing Dancing Through the Decades, and it was like, you know, the swing dance and the Lindy Hop and all this stuff. And then they didn't do the moonwalk for the 80s. I'm like, come on. Like, that was the dance of the 80s. How can you not? Right? I think they did like the robot dance, which, yeah, a lot of people did, but come on. Yeah. The moonwalk in the 80s is kind of synonymous, so. Yeah, apparently I read that Michael Jackson didn't invent the moonwalk, but he was the one who made it the most famous. So, yeah. Man, he was a talent. Yeah. Okay, so again, do little bits out of order. Okay, 03. Still mostly trying to work along the established edges here as much as possible. Yeah, I would say, I told that to my kiddo. I said, yeah, and we do the moonwalk. Well, we attempt to do the moonwalk. Most of us couldn't do it. But yeah, my niece had that. Dentist says, have you been flossing? And she says, you bet. Starts doing a floss dance right in the chair. And my sister's like, yeah, I bet he's never heard that one before. You know, he must be totally sick of it. Oh gosh, like I remember my first job out of high school was at the Chinese restaurant in the mall food court. And oh, the number of times I got people come up saying, I want combo number 5 as a joke of Mambo number 5. Yeah, if I had $1 for every time, yeah. Because, yeah, they did the radio station had the Twisted Tunes where they would do like parodies of it. And of course they did Mambo number 5. So it was like a little bit of soy sauce on my rice, a little, right? And yeah, so yeah. That joke got really old really fast. And we didn't even have a combo number 5 either for a while. We had 4, and then after that it was, you could make your own. You can make your own combo, so. Oh, the number of people who tried to pick the cheapest one, which was combo 1, and then substitute things, and it's like, no, that's the make your own, which costs more. Nice try, but no. Yeah, it was, the first 4 combos were, you get exactly what it says on the menu. That's why they're cheaper, because it's easier for us, right? If you say it, I know exactly what you want. I could plate a combo number 1 in, 30 seconds. So yeah. Boy, did I have to learn a lot of patience for that job. Whew. Yeah. hairs trying to get stitched into the work there. Oh, that doesn't look right. Yeah, I didn't come up quite right. Ended up with the sort of the thread that was already there, it looped in through it instead of sitting sort of beside it, so that wasn't quite right. There we go. Okay. All right. 3608. I'm gonna put this one in my tray. Okay. So yeah, I passed 38% complete. I wasn't sure if I was going to make it. And that means I've done around 10,000 stitches for this month. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that because I usually figure about 8,000 stitches, but I guess because there was some bigger blocks in this pass, yeah, might not get so much in subsequent because we're going to get into the peacock's tail feathers again, and then the wall, and I think there might be some more flowers on the other side. Yeah, so there's going to be more confetti in this pass than the rest of this pass than there was at the beginning, so yeah, we will see. Just kind of leapfrogging these threads over each other to keep from completely closing in stitches. Okay. Oh, goodness, excuse me. Yeah, that was like, I worked at a newspaper for a couple of years, and I remember I was filling out subscription form for a guy who wanted to start receiving, and he, I said, okay, name, and he says John Smith, and I'm like, oh wow, really? And then immediately after, I'm like, I'm sorry, you must hear that constantly, right? Like, oh yeah, I saw there was a story on Reddit where a gal wanted to name her kid John after her father, but the problem was their last name was Doe, the guy she married, and she'd taken his name, and yeah, like, and yeah, he was saying like it'll cause so much confusion, and yeah, because yeah, John Doe means he is unknown, unidentified, right? It's the placeholder they give on forms when they don't know who someone is. If that was your legal name, I can't even imagine the amount of, yeah, what a bureaucratic nightmare that would be. And somebody said you could go by Jonathan, which might be a little less confusing, but yeah, most people were saying, like, if you really want to, just make it his middle name, because yeah, it's such an, and then you could even just call him that. I have a cousin who his legal name, he actually goes by his middle name simply because they didn't want the initials of the two names they chose would have made JP, and they didn't want it, so they went by PJ, but then they still call him by the middle name, so yeah. Which is kind of funny because in my generation, there were a lot of JPs growing up because of, it was Pope John Paul. So, yeah, we knew a lot of John Pauls. A lot of John Pauls and a lot of Pauls, yeah. I think at one time I knew like 9 different guys named Paul, yeah. Very popular name. Yeah, and then I was in one grade. We had, I think there was about 25, 30 students in the class, and 4 guys named Jeff. So they went by Jeff 1, Jeff 2, Jeff 3, Jeff 4, and after a while, nobody even called him Jeff. They just called him by their number. Hey, 3, what's up? Yeah. Yeah. I said having an unusual name can be kind of nice in that people don't mix you up with anyone else, but then that means any of that, what you might call it, personalized stuff that you can get everywhere, you can never find your own name, right? Although I had, one of my friends went to England on a family vacation, and there my name is very common. Yeah, Gemma's really common over there. So she actually brought me back some stuff that had my name on it, and I still use the keychain. Yeah. So, 'cause yeah, it was so unusual to find stuff over here in Canada. Yeah, it's not very common. Although it was funny because my dad had a coworker who was also named to a lady named Gemma, and then they named their son the same name as our son. So yeah, it's funny. Yeah, or I remember we went to a summer day camp one year, and there was a girl there named Emma, and neither of us were used to having anyone else with a name. So whenever you called one of us, we would both turn and look because they sound similar, right? Yeah. Yeah, Emma became more popular, but yeah, when I was a kid, like I know in the UK it was a very popular name, but over here in North America, not as much. So. But yeah, when I give my names, I always have to say, and it's G, no G, not J, G. Sometimes I don't even say the name first, because if I say it's Gemma and then spell it, people just automatically start putting a J. Yeah, because here, most of the time, you have Jenna or Jenny or, you know, something similar, and those are with J, so they hear that sound and they immediately, yeah. So a lot of times I'll just say, oh, it's Gemma, so that, yeah, they get it right, because, yeah. Yeah, my husband's brother married a Jenny, so my mother-in-law had daughters-in-law was Gemma and Jenny, so she would mix us up a lot. Gemma, I mean Jenny, I mean, yeah. because I'm not really working diagonally, I'm gonna just sort of grow out of these edges here. I'll probably follow this color curving this way before I move up further and start working my way down, but that'll be next month. Yeah. So I managed to reach the flowers to close out this month. I did the flower bud, I think, last time or the time before. And then now the actual open flower, at least the top part of it anyway. 37.52. Yeah. A lot more colors here, so. This method of securing my thread, I find once I get one wrap around it, I can tell it's secure. It doesn't move. But I always try to make sure there's at least 3 wraps around the thread to be really sure that it is secure. I remember when I used to do that method, it was a lot of flipping the frame over to make sure I'd caught everything, but now I can do it by feel. That was before I had a stand and I was holding it, yeah, and stitching one-handed. Yeah, I did that for years, but now I'd have a hard time stitching one-handed if I tried. Stitching two-handed, it took me about a week to get used to it, but now, yeah, now I've been doing it for, oh gee, I'm trying to think, 7 or 8 years now? Yeah, I've been stitching two-handed, so got used to it. Actually, I think I'll fill in this one in the corner here first. Thread hanging off the side of my frame. It was tickling my arm. So I have to be careful if it wraps around the side of the frame. I one time caught it with my working thread and stitched it into, and yeah, I could not pull that thread back out. End up having to trim it and leave that end. So yeah, stitching over your ends definitely secures them, because I discovered that when I did it by accident and wasn't trying to secure it, it would not be budged after that. Yeah, it was well and good stuck in there. Just gonna do this one because then I can tie this thread off, be done with it. Won't close anything in on all 4 sides, so in fact I should just move those out of my way. It will be sticking to this area for now. Won't worry about those threads till later. Plus, yeah, soon it's going to be time to take this off the frame and show you all my progress. Actually did a little bit of the peacock's chest again yesterday too, so got even further than I expected, which is nice. Yeah, so I'm thinking next month I will get to the tail feathers. Not sure if I'm going to actually stitch any of the tail feathers next month, but I think I can finish up sort of his chest and the wing feathers that are in that area. There's some brown ones and then some white ones, and also there's the top of the second bird's head. So yeah, we'll see. Yeah, and like I said, there's going to be, I'm going to have a little less stitching time for part of this summer while we do a bunch of home stuff. So replacing carpet and repainting and all that fun stuff. Yeah, not looking forward to it, but we've been here almost 20 years and it needed to be done since like before we moved in pretty much. Yeah, just been putting it off. I said I was going to stick to working in this area, but there's some here sort of along this edge, and then I can tie this thread off, so I will do these anyway. Then that's one less thread I got to deal with later. Okay, and then let's see. Actually, again, another color I want to do first. Yeah, it was wild because yesterday was major icy wind and a little bit of snow. Today, you have no clue that it was. It's gorgeous out there. Yeah, I ended up doing my exercise inside because, yeah, the wind was like a knife. It was definitely carrying the ice in it. Okay. bunch of other colors so that then I can focus more on doing a bunch of one color in a row. Although that's going to get interrupted soon too. Okay. Yeah, it looks like, yeah, I'm going to take this one out to my working tray because I'm going to be using it a fair bit. Looks like it's time to get a new skein out too. Yeah, when there's one last big strand in the envelope, then I go and I get the next skein if it's necessary. Actually, I don't know. Yeah, I think there's going to be more because yeah, I don't think I can do 856 with what I have left. So I'm pretty sure I probably have another one. I always overbuy pretty much most of the time. Oh my. There we are. Yeah, usually it's not that fuzzy to start. This time it was. Okay, let's zoom in a bit more here. I'm not having luck today. Okay. goodness, another of my hairs getting stitched into the bottom. Some more cream and grayish. Now we're getting into the pink. Again, I think this is sort of the shadowy side. There. Oh, why'd you have to do that? Make a knot. Okay, looks like it's gonna stay. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, it feels like when you do get a tiny knot like that, like 80% of the time, it'll be on the front. If you don't sort of, what I'll do at that point is do a little pin stitch a few stitches away and then come back to stitch some more. That way it ensures the knot is on the other side. But this time it worked out. You would think that half of the time it would work out, right? But it seems like not. But then maybe I'm just remembering it differently because that's when it annoys me, right? So, okay. Now, I am going to do one out of order here. Yeah, I'm going to do this one here because I just don't feel like mucking about with another strand, so. Yeah, normally I would stitch down here, come back up and do that one, but there's more stitches down here and I sort of want my thread to be further down, so that's why I did it out of order like that. Oh, more knots trying to form. Okay, I thought maybe I'd have to do another strand, but actually I think I see a way to avoid it. Yeah, I often decide when I get to it and don't plan ahead, because a lot of times even when I do plan ahead, my plan ends up changing. So put that there. Then take this color down like this and fill in that one little gap I left. Oh, we're set here to actually get to 117,000 stitches completed. I started at around 106,000 and some the beginning of this month, so yeah, like I said, I don't really make goals anymore because they were stressing me out, but I do sort of still keep track and sort of see what I did accomplish, even though I'm not making it into a challenge for myself. This is a really pretty, very light mauve kind of color. don't think I'll finish this whole section today, but I'll get a good portion of it done. Just gonna park that there, and I will decide what to do with it later. I'm working that next sort of area. Okay. think this one down here is fairly decent length. Okay. Oops. Here, thread wasn't smooth. So that meant both strands didn't pull through evenly. Had to fix that. So yeah, I'm going to get past 117,000 left. Or actually 117,000 completed, yeah. So not quite at halfway yet. That's going to take another few months. Although I will say we should be half done by the end of the year. I think that's a pretty safe bet. Actually going to go the other way so that I can park in that upper right. get out of this thread. So well, I said I wasn't going to fill in this whole section of flower here, but maybe I will. Perhaps I will. Kind of in a groove right now. And we're pretty close. Okay, actually, I'm gonna do part of this color first. Now we'll switch to that color. Oh, right, I did take this one out. That way I could do all 4 of those in a row without having to pause and park. Almost about to hit 200, and I did start at 0 this time, so my goodness. It was this thread that did that last time too, I think, this color. Maybe it's the thread. expect the thread to be more fuzzy when it's a short one like this. That means it's been pulled through the fabric several times. So yeah, when it's fresh, a fresh thread, I don't usually expect that. Let's go the other way. Just sort of, I'm going to thread that one. So I'm going to use it for a while. Yeah, I'll just sort of finish up this little bit here. And then I think that will be where I call it a day. Boy, 200 stitches sounds like a lot, but sometimes when you look at it on the piece, yeah, it doesn't look like a lot. I'm not going to add any more threads at this point. I'm just going to stitch with these ones that are already parked here, and then that's where I'm going to call it a day. Because that color, oops, for this one right here is already parked up here, and I don't feel like filling in from that high yet. I'll get to it later. So instead, I'm just going to do these 2 stitches in park, and then that will be where I leave it. Oh, we'll have done 222 today. Haha. I like stopping on numbers like that. Wasn't even aiming for it, but. There we go. So there we go. Yeah, very happy with that. So thank you so much for joining me today, and hope to see you here next time. Thanks, everyone. Bye.